What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Juggernauts are weird. They are the perfect example of a mothership in the classic sci-fi trope. It's massive, it's powerful, it's got its own shipyard, the works. Now, it has enough guns to fry a small fleet, more strike craft than a Battlestar, and its aura effects can be quite the game changer. But are they the kind of thing that you want in your fleet? Or just a white elephant for you to pour your resources into? The question is, are Juggernauts bad? Let's get over the basics here. The Juggernaut comes in with 2 spinal cannons that can do some serious damage to any fleet that decides to approach it at range. Then there is 6 hangar bays that crap out strike craft like a nobody's business. And to wrap it all up, 5 medium slots that can be used for a variety of fun weapons to take on anything that decides to get close. All of this is backed up by an absolutely massive 21 shield armor or hull slots, as well as 4 utility slots that can be used for a variety of things, such as advanced auxiliary units or additional shield capacity, or if you want to squeeze out even more power. All of this combined means almost 1500 damage per tick, at least in this particular example, more than 100,000 hull points, which, by the way, is about 10 times more than a Titan. Then, of course, it comes with its own aura effects. First up is the strike command, which gives you a nice 20% on strike craft damage. It's not that great, but, you know, it's also not awful. Then there is probably the best one, the targeting acquisition array, which improves your ship's weapon range by plus 40%, which allows you to essentially get an extra volley off on another fleet, especially if you're using an alpha type of strike, then this is going to do a lot of damage. Subspace Amplifier increases or decreases the hyper jump drive charge time, as well as the jump drive cooldown. Very niche, only reduces the jump drive cooldown from 200 days to 120, so it's not that awesome. The ECM emitters, which is essentially garbage because who uses point defense, although right now with the 3.6 weapons change this may become a little bit more important. And finally, the munitions plant, which increases orbital bombardment damage by 30%. Why you would use this is a little bit beyond me, but apparently it's there and it's just happy to be part of the party. To wrap this all up, it comes with the wonders of its own shipyard, 2 of them, so that means you can build 2 ships in parallel if you would really want to, and you can go all the way up to battleships. Now, this basically means that the Juggernaut is its own station in space, which means that it has functionality like a station in space, which means that if you have any fleet selected, right-clicking on it and setting the Juggernaut as a home base for a fleet is totally viable, and it's probably one of the most useful features that it has, but we'll get into that shortly. What I'm trying to say is that on paper, the Juggernaut is the most powerful ship in the game. On paper. Personally, I think the Juggernaut is incredibly niche when it comes to its application as a ship of war, because it's not a ship of war. It is a utility craft that is a little bit different than every other ship in the game. Let's talk about cost and time to build, shall we? First of all, a Juggernaut will set you back around 3,500 alloys depending on the particular situation. The base is sitting around 3,000 alloys. Not the end of the world, you can pave this when the time comes. Problem is, it takes about 6 to 7 years to build one of these. To put this into perspective, during that time, on one shipyard, you can build 9 battleships, or 17 cruisers, or 35 destroyers, 70 corvettes, or 50 frigates. But that does not matter, because you can only build the Juggernaut in its own very specific module, the Colossal Assembly Yards. All these other ships that I just mentioned, you can probably build all of them in probably a year, because they can use any shipyard that is available and just be cranked out en masse. Sure, per alloy, it's probably one of the biggest damage dealers in the game outside of the Titan. And this is both its biggest asset and probably its biggest weakness. As I mentioned, this is a support ship. It's not a combat vessel. It is slow. It's very slow, and it cannot keep up with any fleet that it's supposed to well, support. Sure, it can build ships for fleets that are out at war, but force projection has never really been an issue for me or any of the other people that I play with. It may be different for you. Who knows? Because ships will arrive at your fleets regardless of what route they'll take. And that's because they don't die anymore. You can reinforce a fleet, like say this fleet over here. Let's say I want to add some stuff to it. Let's do it like this here. Let's add some more frigates. Let's reinforce it. All those ships, they will automatically arrive at this fleet without any issue, which is, you know, kind of useful because they're not going to die en route. So no longer do you need this support ship behind enemy lines to reinforce your fleets. That's kind of no longer a thing within the game. The shipyard in that respect is kind of useless. You want it to use to refit your fleets maybe. You can do that. You can use it to refit your fleets, no problem whatsoever. How are you going to, I don't know, refit an entire battleship fleet of, say, 80 ships through 2 shipyards? If you are going to refit your fleet on a Juggernaut in the middle of a war, you're doing something wrong and you have probably not set up your fleets properly before you decided to invade. You should probably be pulling all those fleets back to a place where there are shipyards available to refit those fleets. You could potentially use one of these to heal your fleets while you're on the front line. Let's say hypothetically that you are invading an enemy empire, like these mechanists over here. You could sit in one of these systems and try to heal your fleets as they come back from raiding some space. Yeah, by the time you have a Juggernaut, there is going to be stations all over the place. And if you do not take one of these stations early on already, well, I don't know what you're doing to gain territory, but you should be taking these extremely important logistics areas, A, to stop the enemy from reinforcing their own fleets, but more importantly, to heal your own fleets. The thing that the Juggernaut is apparently supposed to do. You do not need a Juggernaut in order to refit your fleets. It's just preposterous. It has that function. It just doesn't serve one. It doesn't work. But ASpec, you say, it has all these awesome aura effects that will put any fleet into overdrive. Sure, absolutely. And when exactly did you want to use these? The ship is too slow to keep up with any sort of main fleet. Even a battleship runs a lot faster than a Juggernaut. A war is all about mobility, keeping your fleets on the go to make sure they do not get intercepted by other fleets. You want to stay on the move, and a Juggernaut simply cannot keep up. And because it cannot keep up, it cannot apply any of these modifiers. Sure, strike command, strike craft. It's 2 repeatable technologies on damage for strike craft, guys. It's not the end of the world. Sure, 20% big boo bonus. Nice. Okay, let's talk about target acquisitioning array. Ship weapons range plus 40 is amazing. I'm not gonna lie, it's probably one of the best modifiers you can get on the ship. But when are you going to be able to apply it? What can you do? You're going to just jump into a system together with your Juggernaut and your battleships just in tow whilst the enemy fleet is coming in from the other side at just the right time to get the range to shoot across the system. It is such an unlikely scenario that it's just not worth the effort building a Juggernaut specifically for this. It's just preposterous. Sure, can you do it? We'll have fun, absolutely. But I don't see it. Then there is the subspace amplifier, hyper jump drive, decrease time. Sure, it will make your fleets more mobile. It doesn't matter. Your Juggernaut is still going to be as slow as hell. The hyper drive cooldown, or the jump drive cooldown even, it reduces it from 200 to 120. Your ship is still going to be stuck in space for 120 days, slowly moving behind your main fleets, trying to move the line. The ECM emitters, it reduces enemy point defense by 30%. Amazing. I'm blown away by this. The munition plants, unless you are invading a fallen empire capital world, like I said it before, it's just happy to be there. The Juggernaut by itself has one massive redeeming quality, and I'm going to give it that. And that is the ability to assign any fleet to set the Juggernaut as its home base. Why? Because if you're out there along the stars, let's say that you are coming into this empire, right? Your home territory is pretty far away. If you lose in combat versus an enemy, normally the fleet will go back to your capital, or at least wherever the home star base is. Instead, in this particular case, you can move your home star base to inside of enemy territory and then repair your fleet as it arrives. That is the biggest possible plus that a Juggernaut can have. Anybody who sees a Juggernaut in their space will try to kill it as fast as they can. It is, in fact, that giant white elephant. It is basically a tiger tank in Normandy. The Allies see one of these bad boys sitting around somewhere, they're going to go ahead and try to kill it with whatever they can. 50 frigates are going to annihilate this thing because of the bonuses to torpedoes that will be coming into 3.6 update are just absolutely ridiculous on Juggernauts. It has a size 36 in terms of fleet. It's just gigantic. What are you gonna do? Like, you're gonna eat torpedoes and just be hulked? Yeah, that's what's gonna happen to your Juggernaut. It's just such a niche ship. Don't get me wrong. Can it be good if used properly with a lot of micromanagement, moving it to the right places at the right time? Absolutely. It can be really, really strong. But a lot of the time, you're going to be too busy trying to manage your empire, manage your economy, try to move your fleets into the right positions inside of solar systems, and the Juggernaut's just going to sit somewhere behind enemy lines trying to wait for a situation where it's going to be useful. It's too slow. The only scenario where I can see a Juggernaut to be useful is on the defensive, where it can apply its aura effect plus its additional damage to other fleets that are jumping in at range. That is the only scenario that I can think of where a Juggernaut is actually useful. Or as a very, very expensive ship to go knock down enemy stations that are in the line behind enemy lines. Like, those are the only reasons why I would ever want a Juggernaut on my side. What do you think? Am I wrong? Because I could be. Give me an argument. Why am I wrong about Juggernauts? Are they bad? Are they good? Do you ever build one? I very rarely do because of these arguments, and I'm looking forward to hear from you. Is this the workhorse of the fleet? Or is it a great white elephant that is just a giant waste of resources? Or is this a great white elephant that needs rework in order to play properly within the game? We're going to go ahead and wrap this one up here. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to my patron. And until next time, take good care of yourselves. And as always, this has been me raging for 9 minutes.